GM everyone. Today we have an earlier town hall. Hopefully this enables a slightly different crew to attend. Agenda for today is similar to the last one. We'll go around hearing from some of the contributors what they've been working on. And then there will be an open period of if anyone has anything to talk about. So with that being said, Frijo, care to do the honors and kick us off? What have you been up to? What have you been thinking about?
Yeah, gladly. This last week was spent uh, working on the convert bonus, getting data with default juice, and a lot of our work has actually been integrating a lot of AI interflows within the repo to increase our efficiency. I personally has been doing a lot of research on that front, and it seems like the tooling has evolved to a point where it really has become much more frictionless to use the tooling and gotten to a point where you can actually use it to assist us in our general workflows. So I've been very busy getting the team up to speed on how to most optimally use these tools in a way that doesn't uh, make us a crutch to the tooling, but still enables us to massively increase our efficiency. And personally, I've seen a lot of dividends already, even though it's been like a week or so. So it's really awesome to see. Ben, if you're talking, you're muted.
Oop, sorry about that. I was just saying, from where I sit, this is a really tremendous improvement and feels very aligned with where the world is going. I foresee like small, really close-knit, high-powered teams that are able to get a tremendous amount done from their use of AI. And, this is to me, a very meaningful step in being able to increase the capacity of our small and close-knit teams. So very exciting stuff. Default Juice, how are you doing?
Doing good, doing good. As Frijo said, I've been helping with some convert data. I would also like to show some visualizations, uh, especially related to how we use AI. I was actually able to do some pretty incredible stuff in a very short amount of time. So I think it's worth taking a look at. I think you two will go through it in more depth in the future, but I was pretty my mind was pretty blown on what you can get done with AI just with simple prompts. So I don't know if I can share my screen.
I think you can.
Not for gaming. Okay, can you see now?
I'm checking. Yes.
Yes, I can see.
Okay, so for example, so for reference, there are three elements that go into the convert bonus data. There is the maximum negative time weighted average delta P in a period of time. There is the convert capacity in a given season, and there is also how much the convert capacity changes from season to season, and that also depends on how many target seasons we want until the maximum capacity is reached for the given convert penalty or convert bonus. Sorry. So for example, with data like this and given what we wanted, I was able to construct some pretty complex graphs like this one, which says for example, if we're at the price of 60 cents, and the capacity increases, the convert bonus capacity increases at 0.7% each season, then in order to reach the maximum convert capacity, we would need like 230 seasons, which is super cool, and you can move it around. And all of this and was done by AI mostly, and especially it's especially effective if you already know exactly what you want, and obviously have some amount of experience with it. Yeah, so for example, this is all the points where the maximum time weighted average delta V is updated every time we cross peg. This is the S scalar, which divides the capacity. So it's a proxy of how many target seasons we want to until we reach the maximum capacity, and a whole lot of stuff. You can see that stacked in here, back tested across different seasons from Genesis until now. You can see if we wanted to reach the maximum of the convert capacity in 1,000 seasons, what would be the required delta in the capacity, for example. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff, and all of this was 95% done with AI. So
Wow,
to Frijo's point, it really paid dividends here.
that's tremendous. I mean, these are, yeah, or it feels like, I just read this article by Sam Altman saying the singularity happens slowly. And that something like this definitely makes you feel like, whoa, shit's changing pretty fast. Really, really fascinating stuff. Thank you for sharing all that, Default.
No problem.
Pintacito, what are you up to? Anything
Yo,
worth
yo.
talking about?
Well, I guess worth making people aware that we moved from the old Mirror to two new Mirror accounts, one of which had its first article appearance just a couple of days ago, which was a contribution from Karakaya, which was really awesome to collaborate with him on and to allow him to spread the good word. And another one which will just be featuring articles directly from the protocol. So um, you'll be seeing a post from that pretty soon. We got another couple of articles coming down the hatch. Other than that, this past week updated the Spotify to include all of the past recordings and should see YouTube caught up as well within the next few days. And otherwise, yeah, hoping to contribute to some improvements to the landing page and user experience coming up. But until then, should still be seeing some articles come out that will hopefully give people more color about understanding the system in our attempt to make it more accessible to people.
Awesome. Thank you very much for all those updates. Captain, what about you?
I don't have many updates, but I'm with Karakaya actually, and he's saying hi. And
Hi to everybody.
What's up,
Yeah.
Karakaya?
It's everything is perfect. It's too hot here. We are outside. I'm listening to you. Thanks for every update.
yeah, hi from Turkey. We are really looking forward to see the updates on the UI UX front, so that we can introduce this amazing project to the fellow Turks
Yeah.
who will be able to understand it easily, smoothly. Yeah, hi from Turkey.
I think with AI, the Turkish version of the website is just a couple prompts away.
Sounds amazing. We would love to, also see some videos with our Turkish accent.
Yeah, we'll have to make that happen one way or another. We're gonna hold you two to that, Captain and Karakaya. We want the Turkish voiceovers.
We are here for that.
Yeah, we are living for it. Yeah.
Awesome. On my end, the big news is that I will be speaking at the Stable Summit in Cannes on Saturday, giving a talk. It is high time that we reconsider algo stables. So I hope this will be the first of many public speaking opportunities where I'm able to spread the good word about our work here and why people need to pay more attention to it. So I had a really interesting experience last week at a stablecoin drinks event in New York, where I sort of debated, if you will, two different real algo stable skeptics, and have started to feel like I understand the current issues that people have, the fear that people have, particularly after Terra Luna. And this talk will be directly addressing some of that. So feeling like a lot of the way that we want to engage people and get them to reconsider our project is starting to become clearer and clearer. So I'm very excited for the opportunity to go out and spread the good word about our work. So now I think the best thing to do is to open up the floor and see if people have anything that they specifically want to talk about. And depending on how much time we have thereafter, I may comment a little bit more about what we're seeing in the field now that the cultivation factor fix has happened, but it's not that complicated yet, so there's not that much to say, but there's a little bit if there's time. And just for people's reference, we are going to end this 40 minutes after the hour because I'm going to have to hop, unless there's still discussion happening, and then I'll just hop and people can continue without me. All right, floor is open if anyone has anything that they wanted to talk about. All right, so I will talk a bit about the cultivation factor change. For those that tuned in last week, they know that there was an impending fix to the cultivation factor, such that the issue that the protocol was facing, where basically the cultivation factor was stuck, so that the amount of soil available never changed, was fixed. I think on Monday. Correct me if I'm wrong there, Frijo, but around Monday. And since then, we've seen the cultivation factor rise up to the appropriate level in line with demand to sow via this large tractor order that was the thing that sort of uncovered the issue in the cultivation factor mechanism in the first place. And now it's hanging out at the appropriate level. So the more interesting thing to pay attention to is moving forward, now that this has been fixed, what type of demand are we seeing in the field, and how is that affecting converts? In particular, the thesis that we were operating under and still are operating under is that part of the diminished move towards the value target came from the fact that the protocol was effectively unable to remove any supply because the field was effectively broken in practice. And the thesis is that because people can't sow, particularly people that may want to sow and convert as sort of like a tandem move, like lock in their place in the pod line and then use their convert tower to the value target, that they're unable to do that. And this is behavior that we'd started to see certain wallets perform, where they would convert and sow or sow and convert. But that all basically stopped once this cultivation factor issue came into play. So for me, I'm very interested in understanding moving forward how things are going. It feels a little bit like the market conditions have turned over the past couple months, and we were seeing generally pretty strong price movement from the protocol. But the field has been pretty ineffective. And so now that the field is turned back on, if you will, hoping to see that upward movement resume. That's really the main thing on the protocol side that I'm keeping track of at the moment. The other, this is sort of unrelated thing to note, but the L2SR now is excessively low, such that the crop ratio is actually coming down now. And so this is now uncovering another edge case related to the convert bonus. And as we start to parameterize that, we are going to probably change the way the convert bonus works slightly to factor in the not just the L2SR, or the crop ratio via the L2SR, but also factor in the delta P, such that if the bonus won't reset merely as a function of the liquidity going down. That's the current thought. It's a bit of an interesting dilemma from the perspective of if the L2SR really is that low, maybe the protocol doesn't want people to convert via a bonus because it doesn't want people to convert in the first place. But I don't think that's true because even at a low L2SR, the protocol potentially wants converts. It's just, as people who are listening can probably tell, we're at the point in the model where these types of changes are very complicated, and making sure that everything is aligned properly is not so simple. So this is one of the reasons why over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be spending more time on the convert bonus and penalty parameterization to try to really get that as close to the mark as we can based on theory. And of course, all that data and research that Default Juice has been doing. But this is why I think we're at the point where, given the nuance of the protocol, we need to be slow and steady with our changes. And the protocol seems to be in a relatively sustainable place, even though it's not at exactly the value target. The price is pretty stable or low volatility. And so I think we are far better off making changes at this point, particularly to the parameters, in a very slow and meticulous fashion. So excited about the work Default Juice and Frijo are doing, getting a bunch of analytics ready for us to try to figure out how to properly parameterize this stuff. And hopefully now with the help of AI, we can also create more formal reports to explain a lot of this stuff to people. Historically, a lot of the friction has been in order to explain things in a visually intuitive way. It just requires such a tremendous amount of resources in order to produce stuff that's visually intuitive. I mean, the thing that comes to my mind is the Beanstalk state space. Like that was like 182 pages with like probably 100 hand-drawn diagrams that I hand drew. Which at this point, I think, 16 months later or whatever, the AI is probably able to take that document and, with a little prompting, turn it into something much more official. So I hope that even though our team is relatively small compared to some of the other teams building in DeFi, that we're going to be able to put out really world-class research to help people really understand this stuff. I hear you, Captain, saying that you're looking for stuff that makes this more intelligible to people in Turkey. And I think the more that we can do to help people understand what's going on, obviously, like setting specific parameters is a little bit lower level than where we should start. But this feels to me like a big move in the positive direction, or a positive direction, to be able to really like slowly and meticulously set all these parameters. So it's a fun place to be. It's also deeply related to the discussion that Frijo and I had during the last town hall around sort of more of a meta level peg maintenance mechanism now that all the tools are in place. So a lot of our work moving forward is going to be on the front end, cleaning up the user experience, making it more palatable, and doing a lot of research into how to properly parameterize the system. The latter is still very much an art. Not to say that the former isn't an art, but the latter really is an art at this point, just because of the novelty of the system and the lack of like years worth of data. But we're going to do the best job that we can. So I know I said a lot there. I don't know if people have anything, comments or questions or responses. I'll leave the floor open for a sec. Going once. Going twice. All right, so I guess we'll wrap here. We'll wrap a little early. This town hall was short and sweet, but I think it's a good, like, if there's nothing to talk about, we can keep them shorter. This makes the content a little bit more easy for people to consume. And we'll be back next week, I think, with an evening session ET, so a little bit later in the day. So we'll probably have a different mix of people. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.